Good evening and welcome to the program featuring round 6 of the Winfield Australian Sprint Car Series. Tonight we take you to the New South Wales town of Gunnedah, 60 kilometres east of Tamworth. The township of Gunnedah is home to just 10,000 people, but the surrounding area is rich country and it has a large general population. The Gunnedah Speedway just outside the town is a credit to its owners and management, and tonight it's preparing to host the biggest night so far in its short history. The crowd has begun to arrive early to witness the preparation of teams and drivers for what promises to be exciting, action-packed racing and entertainment, sprint car style. So for the next half hour, do stay with us. The leaderboard so far in this $330,000 series has George Tatnell on top with 2,960 points, ahead of Max Dumsney with 2,500. Brooke Tatnell has 1,810, just ahead of Phil March with 1,600. Brad Hayward and John Walsh complete the top 6. This round of the Winfield Series is the first time that sprint cars have appeared at the Gunnedah Speedway. As the drivers prepare for the racing, we asked some of them about their impressions of the circuit.
I think all the boys are going to enjoy this one because it seems to me that the people that own the place or run the place know what they're doing. I think they've spent a lot of money in the right direction. There doesn't seem to be any wasted money, you know, as far as I can see. They've done everything right, and the facilities look fantastic, and that track's going to be real good very soon.
It looks wide enough, and the straights look long enough, and the corners are a little tight, but I think it'll be all right, yeah.
I think it's very impressive. It's really opened my eyes up, and I wouldn't mind a plan of it so I can copy it from my own speedway back home.
We take you to the racing now, and after qualifying time trials, Gary Rush has shown his experience and set fastest time. We pick up the action in the heat races, and your commentator is Ian Campbell.
Heat number 1 at Northern New South Wales, Gunnedah Speedway. On the circuit now in this field is series leader George Tatnell and Australia number 1 Gary Rush. As the racers receive the green flag and into the first turn, it's Harry Delamont from New South Wales leading it from Warren Nelson to Victoria, and Bill Barrows from South Australia quickly up into third spot. But Delamont's the one that's running away early in the race here as we see the race on for second place. It's Nelson in the red car on the outside. Barrows coming up beside him, but doesn't seem to have the car set up right to get around the young Victorian. The leader still Delamont. Down the back straight he goes. This is Gunnedah, the first time ever they've run sprint cars here in the history of the racetrack. We're watching the battle for second and third place as we see the leader come past the judge for another lap here. Delamont down on the low line. It seems to be the way to go early in the piece here. The track was very, very wet earlier on in the day, but Delamont seems to have the hot ticket to get this one to the line in the first heat. The battle still going up for second place. Nelson now coming down to the low line. Barrows trying everything. Just behind him 2 or 3 places is series leader George Tatnell and also Gary Rush as we see Barrows turn the thing inside out and try to get it sorted out as he goes back into the third turn. Tatnell on the screen now. The car not behaving the way he'd probably like to. It's a real handful for him in this first heat here tonight because they all need valuable points. Tatnell up on 2 wheels. He's in trouble. He's upside down on Buttercup corner on turn number 2. Bringing down the red light, and of course the crash crew's having a quick look at him. It appears that all the damage is superficial. The question is, can Tatnell return to the fray? He needs the points in this event. Crowd looking intently. We're waiting for the restart here. Cars coming around now. The green flag raised for the restart in heat number 1, and it's Harry Delamont that jumps away. Have a look at Tatnell's car. They've got to it in that short period of time, only a couple of minutes, and allowed him to rejoin the race, and he's got to go for it now to get those points to get up into the final. As we see Harry Delamont from Young in New South Wales in car number 4, the white car going in front of us now. He's our race leader. Warren Nelson from Victoria now breaking away from Bill Barrows in second place. But have a look at the battle on there for the minors. There's Barrows, and right behind him on a charge is Australia number 1 Gary Rush. But the guy who sneaked past the both of them at this pace after the restart was John Walsh from New South Wales. So the placings, it's Delamont in first place. We've got Nelson in second, and have a look at this. Just a turn of fate for Walsh there. He's bicycle, and Rush is quick to pounce on the opportunity. So it's now Gary Rush up into third place. We've got 1 lap to go. Harry Delamont, can he hang on? Nelson's on the charge. Rush is after him also. There is half a lap to go as they scream down the back straight away into turn number 3. But it's going to be Harry Delamont from Young in New South Wales that's going to take victory in heat number 1 here at Gunnedah Speedway. Across the line, second place will be Warren Nelson and Gary Rush behind in third. The action continuing here at Blue Vale Speedway, Gunnedah, heat number 2 of round 6 of the Winfield Australian Sprint Car Series, with rookie Rod Bowen going off position number 1, looking good for a start. Green flag down. Outside of him from Queensland, Nathan McDonald in the 32 car. Behind that is another rookie in the sprint cars this year in Paul Lindbergh. Out of the rear of the pack, we've got Gary Rush Jr. So everybody trying in this one, but the guy they've got to run down is the current leader in the black car. That's Rod Bowen. He was the 1988-89 national champion in compacts. He's come up into this division this year, and the guy has been making a lot of waves in New South Wales at the major tracks. We'll see what he can do here tonight against Australia's best in the Winfield Series. Bowen in car number 76, immaculately presented there, way out in front by about 6 or 7 car lengths. We've got the young Tyro from New South Wales in Nathan McDonald in second place, but Brooke Tatnall, he's got a problem. The wing has come loose on the number 8 car, and Gary Rush Jr. climbs up over the back of him on turn number 3 and brings down the caution flag. Gary Rush Jr. sitting there waiting to be pushed off. On the restart, the two of them sitting up the rear of the field. The race leader in heat number 2 is Rod Bowen. As I said earlier, he is a rookie to sprint cars this year. Brooke Tatnall has just kicked this wing back. This will work against the young man in the number 8 Winfield car, because it's going to be dragging badly on the front in the wrong direction. The wings are looked upon to put force down on the rear wheels and help cornering, but the way this wing's set up, it's going to be diabolical problems for the young New South Wales racer. But now we've got the leader in trouble, and a roll. We've got Hayward upside down. Everything happening here in one lap of a restart, and we have got the red flag down. Crash Crew's running in quickly. Hayward, the car upside down in the back straight. Field circulating around. They may give him a restart here. Bowen stands on the loud pedal, and away they go into turn number 1. It's still Rod Bowen. Maybe a little lucky after that last incident, but certainly the one who's missed out on the whole deal is Brad Hayward. He's on the infield and out of contention in the second heat. And now we'll see Lindbergh coming on. These guys, as I mentioned earlier, both rookies in this division for this season, and the two of them look like they're going to battle it down to the wire. Brooke Tatnall has received attention during that last stoppage. The wing on the Winfield number 8 car is now sitting in the right direction, and we've got the leader going into turn number 3. The order on the racetrack at the moment: Rod Bowen in first place. Behind him in second place, we've got Paul Lindbergh from Queensland. In third place also from the start. We're going to roll. A big crash. It's young McDonald. He's brought down the red lights. There's big drama going on, and turn number 2 claims another one. Crash attendants over there very quickly to see that the young Queenslander is okay, and he's victim number 2 for turn 2. Restart here for heat number 2. Nathan McDonald will not be taking part in this event, and it's serious. The car may not be taking part in any more racing here tonight at Gunnedah, and that's bad luck for this talented young Queenslander, as we see the leader of heat 2 with a couple of laps to go, Rod Bowen from New South Wales in car number 76. Behind him, Paul Lindbergh in car 5 from Queensland, and David Anderson from New South Wales now up into third place. The leader down the bottom turn. Lindbergh looking to do a number on him as they come out to the back straight away, but Bowen's got him well covered as he goes into the third turn. Bowen desperately trying to drag the car down to the low line. There's the white flag. There's one to go for the race leader as he goes into 1. Lindbergh's got to do it, and do it quick as he comes off the second turn, but Bowen's got him covered because Lindbergh hooked the road. Have a look at the battle for the minors. Gary Rush Jr. and Brooke Tatnall are going to do it right down to the wire, but make no mistake about this, the winner's going to Rod Bowen from New South Wales. The Queenslander Paul Lindbergh second. Third across the line is David Anderson. And have a look at that Brad Hayward as he rejoined the race in his crumpled cars into the minors. Heat number 5 has got Max Dumsey, George Tatnall, Bill Barrows and Gary Rush in the field. Harry Delamont to lead them round on the pole in car number 4 from New South Wales, racing here at Gunnedah. Into the turn number 1, but have a look at Max Dumsey. He's jumped from the second back row and he's up quickly to challenge Tatnall, who's running at this stage at about 4th on the track. Tatnall now challenging Rob Kyle for third place on your screen in the red Winfield car as he comes down the main straight for the first lap completed. Dumsey, what a charge of it. Have a look at Barrows on the outside there. He's challenging Harry Delamont for the lead. The pair of them go into turn number 3 with Barrows doing it the brave way up high on the circuit. Delamont by about half a car. That's gone. Barrows has just jumped on the accelerator and got by him. But have a look at Tadnell. He's throwing everything at it, but Dumsney's too quick for him. He's jumped underneath him on the 1-2 turn, and now it's Dumsney in the third place. Let's recap it. We've got Barrows in the lead, Delamont in second place. We've got Dumsney in third and George Tadnell up there the fourth, but Tadnell's got other ideas. He's up beside Dumsney, tries to race him into the third turn, and the pair of it going up right behind Delamont. He's being swamped by horsepower, Harry Delamont. The three of them now into the main straight away. They're chasing Bill Barrows, who's having a bad time of it down on the 1-2 turn as he tries to get the Black Magic projectile in a straight line up into turn number 3. And there's Dumsney now. He's gotten underneath Delamont. He's up into second place. This is going to be a ripper down to the wire. Back into turn number 1. We've still got the 6 car, our leader, Bill Barrows from Mount Gambier. Dumsney crawling all over the back of him. He charges deep into turn number 3. The pair of them with the foot flat to the floor, asking every effort out of their machines. And now Dumsney, a brilliant manoeuvre, up into first place. Barrows trying to cover him into 2, but you can't afford to do that with Max Dumsney because he had his line already worked out. So it's now Dumsney into the lead with 1 to go. He comes on past here at Gunnedah Speedway. He is now leading heat number 5 and looking for victory. Delamont with Tadnell there in trouble. Gary Rush tries to get out the way, but it's going to be Max Dumsney that takes this one out. He comes around into the main straightaway now, takes the checkered flag. In second place, Bill Barrows from South Australia. Tadnell in third. I think it's Rush up there into fourth place, and what a race.
With all heat races now completed, the qualifying point score shows Gary Rush on top with 141 points, ahead of Max Dumsney on 132. Brooke Tatnell and Gary Rush Jr. have 129, with Paul Lindbergh and Rod Bowen completing the top 6. Gary Rush has drawn out the number 6 marble to invert the first 6 on the grid and put Rod Bowen off the pole position. Let's go back to the track and the 25-lap main event.
Track conditions are good as Chief Steward Peter McKenna calls up the contestants for the final of round number 6 of the Winfield ASC Series here at Bluevale Speedway, Gunnedah. This is the debut for sprint cars at this track. Never before has the Wing Wonders been here to race. And of course they've started off with this great event tonight, and the excitement is mounting as these cars circulate, warming their engines. Let's have a look at the field. Off row number 1, Rod Bowen and Paul Lindbergh. The second row made up of Gary Rush Jr. and Brooke Tatnell. Row number 3, Max Dumsney and Gary Rush Sr. Off the fourth row, Dennis Farr and David Anderson. Row number 5, Nipper Lacey and George Tatnell. Row number 6, Warren Nelson and Wayne Bunker. The seventh row, Bob Kelly and Bill Barrows. And last but not least, at the back of the pack, John Walsh and Brad Haywood. The green flag being prepared. This will send them on their way for the final of round number 6 here at Bluevale Speedway. Looking nice here as Bowen leads them around, and the race is on. It's Bowen into the first turn. Lindbergh challenging them, coming around very quickly behind. That's the 51 car of Gary Rush Jr. Also Brooke Tatnell trying to get a piece of the action, but it's Bowen about 3 car lengths in the front of everybody at the moment and may run away with this one. 2 heat race wins to Bowen so far tonight in the black 76 car. Can he take out the golden glory in this one? Have a look at Lindbergh. He bicycles there as he comes off the second turn. Gary Rush Jr. up very quickly, but have a look. Gary Rush Sr. now up very quickly in the third position. The race starting to settle down here at the moment as the minors go on. Max Dumsney moving also up there, but this is the guy they've got to run down. Car number 76 from New South Wales, Rod Bowen. It's his rookie year in sprint cars after coming up from the smaller compact speed cars. He was national champion about a year ago and is now concentrating on the big bangers. He goes off the second turn. We've got Rush Jr. in second place there as they go into the third turn, and Gary Rush Jr. has really got the pedal to the metal. He's starting to put some pressure on Bowen. Gary Rush Sr. up there into third place. Talk about the battle of the rushes. It's really on for young and old further back. Dumsney's on the move now. He's battling with Brooke Tatnell there in car number 8, left of your screen, and the two of those are hot to trot. They need the points. George Tatnell, series leader. He's trying to get his act together after abysmal showing in the heat so far. Luck just not his way here tonight at Gunnedah. The black car on your screen, car number 76, Rod Bowen's the leader. Gary Rush Jr. in behind him. All sorts of action further back. Max Dumsney should be up to about 5th place at the moment behind Lindbergh. And the leader in trouble, Bowen onto the infield there. And Gary Rush, the national champion, has taken advantage of this. He's in the lead. Lindbergh sneaked through into second place there and is doing the Quiet Achiever act. But this is the man now to catch on the track. But the guy who's going to try and do it is Max Dumsney. Coming on the screen now. He's around the 3-4 turns. Sitting behind him is Brooke Tatnell. Tatnall there with the Shell XMO wing being rather prominent on the Winfield car. The leader down the back straight, it is the battle on for the Miners. It's Max Dumsney coming up behind Gary Rush Jr. in the 51 car, and it's now Dumsney, the brave stuff, up high. He comes around into the main straightaway again, slams the hammer down into turn number 1. There's Bowen. He was the leader, but boy, he's in all sorts of trouble now. He's got to run down Gary Rush. Rush goes by us now. Turn number 1. This is the 9 times and current Australian champion. Proudly emblazoned with Australia 1 on the rear tank tail of this car as he is setting the pace. Have a look at the distance between first and second. Paul Lindbergh from Queensland in second place in car number 5. He's a rookie racer this year, come up from speed cars after being rated Australia number 2. Dumsney at it now, up another place. Tries to get the power to the ground here. Gary Rush Jr., that is, still coming at him. They go around the 3-4 turn. And early race leader is in front of Dumsney. Dumsney's done it again around the outside here. And he's proved that you can go anywhere here on this Gunnedah track as he goes up into turn number 3. But that's the distance between first and third, I should say, with Gary Rush 1/2 a lap in front of Dumsney. Dumsney coming up at about half a second a lap on the leader, but have we seen how quick Gary Rush can go? He'll be pacing himself. This is a big racetrack here, over 500 metres around as we watch the leader down for another lap. And Australia number 1 is that particular car. The battle for the Miners coming on. George Tatnall needing a big charge to get up into the action here. He's running maybe 5th or 6th on the racetrack at the moment as the race leader Gary Rush goes into turn number 1. Rush is going to have to be looking further down the track because there's a whole bunch of cars in front of him as he goes up into turn number 3. And we'll watch this. Oh, Hayward's cut a tyre there. Looks like Nelson got him. We're going to roll. Down on the other end of the circuit, we have got Nipper Lacey upside down, flags waving out there, and car 16 from Victoria very much upside down as it comes to a rest, and we've got a red light situation. Crash crews coming in. Crowd to their feet to have a look at the action. This will be an exciting restart. Rush off the front, a few charges looking for a way around. Bowen's one of them there, he backs off. Yes, says the chief steward, and away they go. Gary Rush goes for it down to turn number 1. Have a look at Dumsney. He's going to throw out a challenge for the lead. The two of them flying down the back straight. They go up to turn number 3. Dumsney on the highline. He's going to try getting around Rush, and they've come together, and Dumsney's upside down. The Valvoline car is upside down on turn number 4. Max Dumsney running second on the leaderboard at the moment, in all sorts of trouble. Can they get the car back in the race? There is a red light down on the circuit. Let's have a look at the replay of this in slow motion. And we see that Dumsney's on the outside of Rush, challenging for the lead, both battling for the same line, and there's been a coming together. Dumsney's car down very, very heavy on the 4th turn. This is amazing. This car looked like it was junkyard stuff, but I tell you what, it's not looking good for car number 5, the Valvoline entry. Cars lining up for the restart. Minus Max Dumsney, Gary Rush off the front, Lindbergh off second, Gary Rush Jr. off 3, and the initial race leader, Rod Bowen, off position number 4. And Gary Rush really gets on with the job very quickly, opening up an immediate lead on Lindbergh of about 6 or 8 car lengths, and is running away up into turn number 3. The national champion goes around the position where he had that coming together with Dumsney and gets on with the business. Down into turn 1 again. This bloke is absolutely amazing. 9 national championships under the belt and is going for the win here tonight in round number 6 of the Winfield ASC Series at Blue Vale Speedway in Gunnedah. Lindbergh still in second place. Gary Rush Jr. up into third. Dennis Farr starting to make a move now, but can series leader George Tatnall in car number 5 on your screen at the moment make any impression on the leaders? The laps are running away as Gary Rush goes past us now. It is half a lap between him and Tatnall will try anything possible to try and accumulate more points to stay on top of the leaderboard. $330,000 up for grabs in this Winfield Series this year, and believe me, they all want the lion's share of it. But Gary Rush is the man of the moment. He's the guy that's looking for the golden glory in round number 6 as he goes into turn number 3. He's holding exactly the same line as he's held for the last couple of laps, and I think Gary Rush has got this track sorted out. Leaderboards Speedway, as I mentioned before, around about 500 or more metres around. A very demanding track. Two great big long straightaways. There is great speed gathered by these sprint cars with their 600 horsepower as race leader Gary Rush again on our screen, emblazoned with Australia 1 as he comes off the second turn. Lindbergh has not got it to catch up this guy at this stage of the race, but he's holding second place. Behind him is Gary Rush Jr. Dennis Farr's up into fourth, followed by George Tatnall and Victoria's Warren Nelson. But there's another guy off the boil tonight. Here's car number 75 from New South Wales, John Walsh, as he is lapped by the race leader. Rush past us again. Only a few laps remaining. And Russ is going to do this one easy if he can keep this pace up if he goes off the second turn. Down the back straightaway, Gunnedah Speedway. As I said, the first time they've ever seen sprint cars, and they're getting a show and a half here tonight. Between the incidents and the racing, it's been one great debut. George Tatnall, can he catch Gary Rush in the limited space? I don't think so. There's about half a lap separating him and Gary Rush, who is the race leader. We've got Gary Rush clear of the pack. Lindbergh still holding second place with 1 lap to go. 1 lap to go for Gary Rush, and he's going to take this one out unless a cruel streak of fate gets him. He goes up into turn number 3, throws the Ivan Walker powered car around to the 4th turn, and there's the checkered flag and victory in round number 6 here at Bluevale Speedway. In second place, Queensland's Paul Lindbergh, Gary Rush Jr. in third place, followed by Dennis Farr, George Tatnall and Warren Nelson from Victoria. This race has been a fantastic debut for the Gunnedah circuit. The first time ever sprint cars have been here. A great display of racing by Gary Rush and the other competitors here tonight, and I'm sure they're going to go away very, very happy.
Oh, it was a hard race. Of course, on those rough tracks, it's always a hard race and works overtime on the car and overtime on yourself, and you just got to hang in there and stick to your guns and stick it out to the end.
It's great to sort of try and get up there. We knew we sort of had it there, but the last few shows, unfortunately, we've had a few accidents and a few rollovers, and we felt a bit embarrassed about it all. And not only that, we've had a few engine problems too, but it's finally started to come together.
A lot of incidents here tonight at Gunnedah, and a lot of accidents, and particularly in the main race, one where you and Max Dumsney came together. What sort of happened there?
Well, Max obviously was going very fast, and he come around the outside of me, and I just, just seen him, he just got by, and I'd say he's up high, and he hit a bump, and he's come across my bow, I would say, but at the instant he done that, I was putting my foot in it, and it was being a rough track. I think I tapped him, and he went over, and I feel really bad for it because, you know, Max has chased the whole series, and he really needed tonight to get up there and with a chance of winning, and you know, it's just put a damper on my race, and because I think a lot of Max as a driver and as a person, and you know, years ago when Max started his career, we had a bit of a yak, and I said, Max, if we're going to be friends off the track, there's some nights we're going to run into each other and we're going to dislike each other, but if I run into you, it'll be a purely accident. And unfortunately, that night's come tonight, and I feel bad for it, but I hope he understands. But it's hard for a young guy like him because he's very ambitious, and he wants to be the best, and I'm sure he's going to be the best one day. And the incident's just a bad one.
From the way I saw it, as I came into the corner on the outside of Gary, he sort of balked for a second. I got by him, and then I thought I'll just close the gate, and I sort of closed it a little bit, and at the exact same time as I closed it, he hit the gas, and bang. It was all over. I was out of it. So,
what does that do to your chances in the overall series?
Dampens them a little bit, but we're still in striking distance. Like if George keeps going the way he's going and we keep going the way we're going, we'll beat him no problem. But we were going good until that, I should say. But I don't know.
Apart from that particular incident, what did you think of the racetrack and the general facility here at Gunnedah?
That's great. I really enjoy it. I like to come to country places and race and have a reasonably good setup. Like this reminded me of running Lismore a couple of years ago. It was just good fun.
Well, the first sprint car meeting to be held at Gunnedah definitely provided plenty of action, with Gary Rush showing his years of experience to take out the race. Interestingly, this puts Rush in a position to take out the championship. The leaderboard shows George Tatnall still on top with 3,210 points from Dumsney on 2,630. Rush takes over third place with 2,000 points, ahead of Brooke Tatnell on 1,970. Phil March has 1,600 and John Walsh 1,200 points. Our next program comes to you from Toowoomba in southern Queensland, when we'll be pleased again to present the action from the 7th round of the Winfield Australian Sprint Car Series. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you can be with us next time.
When the race time's near and they're side by side.